Some time ago, I had this experience, which I don't want to classify as mystical, but it was out of the ordinary in the sense that it was mind expanding. And I say mind expanding because it was completely unexpected. And as a byproduct of this experience, I received a sudden epiphany, which I thought was quite profound. And you will soon understand why. So here I was, minding my business as usual. That's so typical of me. Doing what I have to do without bothering anyone. And so I was cleaning. Because I'm a clean guy. I prefer a clean place. A clean space, that is. And so I was sweeping. And as I was sweeping, I happened to come across a fly. The fly is in the way. It's impeding my movement. And I want to get this business over and done with so that I can move on to other things. I have other things to do. But the goddamn fly is in the way. And what I'm about to say, I'm not saying because I want to portray myself as some saintly figure. Because trust me, I am capable of harm. Now more than ever. But for some weird reason, I find it unnatural to do so, and very natural to do the opposite, which is not to cause harm to any life, that is. And so, the negotiations began. I'm talking to the fly now. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what happened. I plead with the fly. Fly, Mr. Fly. I addressed it with respect. Mr. Fly, please get out the way. I want to get done. But of course, as expected, Mr. Fly doesn't fly. He doesn't move. He just looks at me. And so, I fall back to plan B, which was to scare Mr. Fly away. And I do that, which worked. However, not in the way I thought it would. I mean, you'd think that a fly would fly away, but this fly in particular called away instead. And so the natural question was, what kind of fly doesn't fly? And within that moment, it occurred to me. Didn't even have to think about it. The answer just popped up within my domain of thought. Here it was. So loud and crystal clear. I heard this voice say, a hurt fly doesn't fly. And within that moment, I couldn't help but correlate that idea within the human experience, or with the human experience, because that's so characteristic of us. Like we often see, especially pertaining to the brown-skinned folk, most of us are stuck. Just like the fly, we cannot fly because we are hurt. Well, in our case, we cannot thrive because we are hurt. And so, I wanted us to talk about that. Why is it that we have to allow things which happened, things which are long dead, moments which we choose to relive? Why do we happen to find ourselves carrying those traumatic events into the so-called future? Or better yet, why do we choose to embody the person who was a byproduct of the traumatic event back then within the now? And we justify it by saying hurt people hurt more people. It's like we've normalized trauma. We wear trauma on our sleeves as opposed to wearing our hearts. That's to say, wearing ourselves as we are, as opposed to the false identity which stems from the fear that we've experienced due to the traumas, or the fear that we continuously experience or prolong because we don't want to get hurt again. And so we think in order to protect ourselves, we must be the monsters instead of being prey. And I would have to ask, what good is that doing us? I mean, look around. You find people envying other people as opposed to encouraging growth in others. We don't have community, we just have fake smiles and pretense, which is only existing for the sole reason of one's benefit, so to speak. Everyone is looking out for number one, as if we are truly separated, which is an illusion. You want evidence. When you breathe, we are breathing the same thing. That's your evidence that the so-called or the seemingly separateness, if I may, or the seemingly separation of us as a collective, it's not really real. Otherwise, we wouldn't be a collective. Otherwise, life wouldn't depend on us as a whole. That's to say, we would live however we wanted to live. And so I find it somewhat paradoxical, because that's precisely how things should be. We must live like we want to live, as opposed to following some script which was born within fear or by fear. I mean, we all go through shit. Your suffering doesn't make you special. And forgive me if I sound insensitive, but some things just have to be said. This is my attempt at sparking awareness, not only within your mind, but within your heart. I'm appealing to your nature, your true self, to come out and play. Because that self will play nice, will know how to be with other people, will know that love is the way, as opposed to surviving like we are not alive. I mean, you are alive. What's the need to survive? Well, you can choose to survive by believing in fear, by giving life to fear, or you could live since you are alive. And guess what? We could live together harmoniously so, But what do we choose instead? We choose to gossip, smile in each other's faces, and yet turn around to smear one another as if it's necessary. I know such people. And I understand, I get it. No one is perfect. But pain shouldn't be an excuse, or shouldn't make one limiting oneself justifiable. Pain exists for the sole reason of teaching. Hence, there's this saying that pain is the best teacher. Should we choose to learn from it, that way we grow, like some of us choose to do. A few of us. I hope there's no one out there who thinks that I had it easy or some shit, although I make it look that way. In fact, for the longest time, I've made it a point that whenever I extend my energy towards someone, or when someone enters my vicinity, then that person feels free to be himself. And I've seen the impact. And we could hold such spaces for each other. But instead we choose to do what we are told, as opposed to living our truth. It's like when we are born now, we are born merely for the purpose of catching up to the program, or catching up with the program which has been running, I don't know for how long. And then we glorify it by calling it a generational curse. Generational curse my ass. I couldn't help myself. But trauma, man, it's not worth embracing. It's only holding you back, keeping you from thriving, keeping you from seeing your innate power, your potential, because you're basically sleeping on it, due to the fact that you are not present. You're not here, you're not now, which is eternal, which is unlimited. You are the past, which is limited to the past, to what happened. What happened doesn't change, but you should.